Hey guys, what's up? We're back with some more college football picks. This is week 9 of our picks on Beat the Odds College Football Edition on Odds Checker. Before we get started and get into it, guys, how did our week go last week? How are we doing?
Well, funny that you would ask, Katelyn. I started 0-3, but then I had a 3-3 Saturday to get back to even for the week. I had a couple weeks ago a nice little 6-1 week, which felt good, but since then we've kind of been treading water, and I think I'm at 30-23 against the spread in these videos this year, which is just fine. But just 4-5 on picks of the week. I did get that one via the Pitt Panthers last week, so doing well. They're not as good as some.
I enjoyed a 5-1 week, including the pick of the week for Pitt Panthers. Also cashing the LSU season under win total. 31-24 on the year. Not bad, but not as good as Katelyn. In fact, as we need to tout from time to time.
Yeah, Katelyn, you gotta talk about what you're doing here, because it is a heater for a lifetime that you are on right now.
I appreciate that, guys. It means a lot. Yeah, I see my strategy works for college football, but if you watch the NFL show, it's not clicking for me there. I don't know. I guess the strategy is usually bet Alabama as much as you can.
This seems right, but you are 8-0 or 9-0. However many weeks we've done this video, in your picks of the week, you have not missed one.
I have not. No.
Well, looking forward to hearing who's winning or losing this week. Can't wait.
Well, I'd be terrified to take the team opposite Katelyn this week if I were someone like Alex.
I would be horrified if that were the case, and it seems like that might be the case. So I guess we're going to see what happens.
Anyways, guys, let's get into our week 9 picks. And as always, we do our pick of the week at the end of this video.
Yeah, I'll start with Ole Miss and Auburn, a game where something is guaranteed to be lit on fire, metaphorically, possibly physically. We don't really know. I have Ole Miss in this game. Ole Miss as a 1-point dog. Auburn has had real trouble with the Sean Clifford-led Penn State and the Stetson Bennett-led Georgia passing attacks. I have worries for what Matt Corral and Ole Miss are going to do to them. It was kind of a field pick based on who they have had trouble stopping aerially and who's coming to town this weekend.
I have a play in this game. I'm just going with the under 66 points. Taking the under in an Ole Miss game sounds downright foolish, but their games are actually averaging 5 points below the total on the year. Their defense is bad. It's terrible, but it's focused at stopping the big plays, at forcing the opposing offense to become Ole Miss to just take yards all the way down the field. And you can have all the small gains you want if you're Ole Miss, and that's kind of Auburn's game. Auburn's content with that. Auburn's defense is a bit better at limiting the big plays than the little plays, so this could be a game with a glorious amount of yards, but not quite as many points as you might assume. Let's say in the high 50s, perhaps.
Okay, that seems shrewd to me. Michigan and Michigan State is a game where I think the under is always enticing. I think that it's hard to get a read this year, but I am going to take the under at 51.5 when those two fine Michigan institutions meet up. I think Michigan State's offense is good, but has looked pretty pedestrian against some less than amazing defenses recently, most notably Indiana in their last game. Game before that, they went off against Rutgers, but their whole offense in that game was really 4 very long touchdowns. Of course, those are good. If you can score very long touchdowns, that's good. Michigan's defense does not let up that many big plays in the way that Rutgers did. I also think on the other side, Cade McNamara very limited. Michigan is going to run the ball a ton in this game. So anything above 50 feels like very good value for the under for me.
I'm going to take that as well. Concur with everything you said. And that's also Michigan just wants to run the ball on every single play. Keep that clock moving. We love it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we love a moving clock. In the American this week, USF and East Carolina. I'm on East Carolina minus 8.5 on a kind of simple theory that USF is terrible, one of the worst teams in FBS. So they did have a nice little moment last weekend. ECU has a losing record. They're 3-4, but I really think they could be 5-2. They have moved the ball decently, played pretty good defense against some good teams. Games in Greenville, I think it should be more like a 10 or 12 point spread than an 8.5. So here we are, riding with the Pirates.
I'm gonna do something foolish. I'm gonna bet on the Colorado Buffaloes, but I get 26 points. That's a lot. All right. Against Oregon, I expect lots of running from both teams, almost no deep passing. Why would anyone need to do that? Nobody in a real big hurry on offense. Colorado, just no ambitions on offense. They know what they are. They're awful at offense, so they don't attempt it. And their defense is decent. Could contain Oregon somewhat, at least in the first half, when Oregon might feel led to throw a little bit. The under is very enticing, but I think this big old spread is more favorable. The only real concern is Colorado's offensive line is about as bad as it could possibly be, and they're facing potential number 1 pick, Kayvon Thibodeau. So that aside, 26 points is a lot of points, and I don't believe that much in Oregon's offense.
I think that is an understandable rationale. Betting on bad teams, dangerous. I bet on UConn and UNLV last week. Didn't go very well for me, but I respect your rationale. Cincinnati and Tulane. I am on Cincinnati minus 24 in this game. I'm picking against a projection system that Jason and I both really like. That's SP Plus, that thinks this should be a little bit of a tighter game. But I think Cincinnati has to go for style points right now. They had a pretty pedestrian 7-point win against Navy last week. They are making a case to be the first group of 5 team to ever make the college football playoff. I think that they will correctly understand that there are going to be people who are looking for ways to take that from them. And the best thing they can do to avoid that is just to score tons of points and win by as large margins as possible. Tulane is quite possibly really, really terrible in kind of a surprising way this year. We've seen what Cincy can do against bad G5 teams. I expect Cincy to win by a lot.
I believe in Tulane, not that much, not enough to pick them though. Charlotte, give me. Speaking of bad teams, give me Charlotte plus 18.5 against Western Kentucky. This could be one of the dumbest shootouts of the year. The total is 73, and I certainly considered it. Both teams just love to throw the ball and are pretty decent at it, and love to let the other team throw the ball. So if you like points, this is your Penn State Illinois cleanser of the week.
Speaking of Penn State, I am taking Ohio State minus 17 in that game at the Horseshoe this weekend. You just mentioned the Illinois thing. I think Penn State's offense speaks for itself right now. Very, very horrendous. Not fun to watch at all. Don't look at it too closely, kind of like the Sun in that regard. Also, Ohio State right now might be the scariest team in college football, and I think I include Georgia in that. Dogs fans, please don't get mad at me. You'll get a chance to play them if everyone wins. But this offense is just too much for Ohio State. I think that number is not big enough.
You're welcome for all the sound I hear, by the way. It's usually more quiet than this, but it's a very busy Monday morning. Speaking of Penn State, Ohio State, I'm going to take the under 59.5. An under in an Ohio State game sounds horrifying, but Penn State games have gone under almost every week this year. If anyone can slow or contain Ohio State's offense, it might be Penn State. Particularly, especially on offense, Penn State's going to burn some clock. They love to throw screen passes for our clock burning purposes, basically runs. The Penn State's defense against Ohio State's offense, it might be the best matchup of the entire year, at least in the regular season.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
On the other side, I don't really know how Penn State scores unless they stumble into some coverage breakdowns or whatever. Ohio State could score 50 points, but Penn State's got to score 10 points to hit the total. So
we'll see. It's a big ask. Unders in the Big Ten as well. Iowa and Wisconsin under 37. Saw this one open around 36 and a half, and speaks for itself. I don't think I really need to explain to either of you why we're taking the under in this game. Yeah. It's not really an analytics pick by me. I just think, any point total in this game that is more than like 10, yeah, we'll go under.
Yeah. Is that are we in picks of the week territory now?
I think it might be.
All right, well, I will get started. You guys already kind of talked about Ole Miss Auburn, but basically I just think Ole Miss's defense is not looking great, and they are going to basically just let Auburn go ahead and cover and win. That's my prediction. So Auburn -1 is what I have for this week.
Respectable. DJ Durkin does suck, the defensive coordinator for Ole Miss, in my opinion. So, shouldn't have his job. Isn't a very good defensive coordinator. Really not really sure what we're doing there, Ole Miss. For me, I am taking Indiana getting 2.5 at Maryland this week, my alma mater. That being Maryland. Indiana is terrible, but Maryland is just done. A lot of injuries here. The quarterback, Talia Tagovailoa, is trying hard, but has not really done a whole lot against non-terrible teams this year. Indiana, of course, is not very good. A lot of wide receivers not playing for Maryland. We just know how these Maryland seasons go. There was some hope early on. I'm going to pick them to lose every Big Ten game the rest of the way, and usually by wide margins. So consider Indiana straight up here if you're interested in a little spice.
I love the advanced warning of fading Maryland the rest of the way.
Yeah.
I am going to join in on the Iowa-Wisconsin under. I'm going to make that my pick of the week. Just inspired by Penn State, Illinois. I want to repeat two of the country's slowest, least ambitious, least explosive offenses, two of the country's best defenses. Like Wisconsin might run the ball for like 100 yards. That might be the only thing that happens in this entire game. I'm really excited to watch this.
Can't wait. Points are very retrograde. We don't need them.
We've advanced beyond the need for points.
All right. Well, that's it for this week's Week 9 college football picks on Beat the Odds College Football Edition. As always, we'll be back next week with Week 10.